Okay, so we are very pleased to have Christian from the Chatbot Linux community to give us the introduction to these apps. And today we're also very excited to have with us the past finalists from the previous Chatbot Bootcamp to share with us about their chatbots on education and sustainability. So I think without further ado, I would really like to hand the time to Christian. So over to you, Christian.
Hi, thank you so much, Jeremy. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our second edition of the Gen AI webinar today. And we only have 1 hour, unfortunately. So let me just go straight into the details, and we'll actually discuss a little bit more on how do we apply ChatGPT for especially if you are an educator. Okay, let me just share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen right now? Okay, I think it's already loaded. Yeah. Okay, so the topic for today is on how to develop Gen AI apps to make learning fun and effective, right? And it's also from the perspective of educators also. And what we are going to cover today are 3 things. Number 1 is the brief overview of generative AI and Gen AI powered applications. The second one is a Gen AI app demo by our beloved NLB AI for Impact chatbot LC alumni. And the third one is the learning path for you guys to actually learn how to develop Gen AI applications, especially if you don't have any programming background. So let's start with generative AI itself. I think lots of you have been using ChatGPT as well, right? For me, I use it on a daily basis, and it helps a lot for my work. But generative AI itself, or ChatGPT, just as a definition, is actually the type of AI that can help you create new content like text, images, music, audio, and videos, right? And the word generative, it can also means 2 things. Number 1, it allows you to create new content that you have not prepared before, but at the same time, it can also it's also general purpose, which means that maybe unlike other narrow AI models, generative AI has been trained by a lot and lots of internet data, so that you can actually use it to anything you want. But it has a positive, I mean, it is beneficial, but at the same time also it has certain drawbacks as well, which means that for a use cases which you require a specific knowledge or domain context, you need to really manage them well through a few techniques that we're going to explain later on. I think the what we do is that we don't just focus on maybe teach people how to use ChatGPT on the website, right? Because ChatGPT or Gen AI is so much more than that. And the use cases of Gen AI can actually be used for external facing applications, right? So for example, if you talk about ChatGPT or Chat Generative AI as the brain will actually can do more if it's actually connected to the body. So for example, right, assuming that your ChatGPT is the brain, and let's say your voice recording is your ear, right, and document is your hand, for example, right. If I can use ChatGPT, right, let's say to process to convert a document, for example, like your annual report into a summary, then that's where ChatGPT will gain a lot of benefits, because you are building something that thousands of people can use. And for example, another thing that is popular among our community is that how can I build my own personal AI assistant where I can just record my voice note about my activities for the next 3 days, and it gives me an output of a schedule, for example, right? So I think there are so much more use cases that we can develop on top of just using ChatGPT on your browser. And this is what we call Gen AI powered applications. So it can empower organizations to leverage Gen AI to serve your clients or employees in a massive scale. So this is what we are going to focus on, unpack for today's session. I think how does it work, right? How does Gen AI app works in a simple way? So basically, for example, right, you have basically an app, like it's like a website. It can be a mobile app or it can be anything, right? And let's say your user asks pose a question to your app, for example, like in this case, who is the Prime Minister of Singapore? So I think if you use ChatGPT for that, it actually extracts the knowledge from the global knowledge they have been trained, which means that it can. I mean, they're using like multiple kind of data source, and then it gives you an answer, right? So typically, if you're using ChatGPT, this question will flow into a user prompt, and then in your prompt instructions, you can actually tell GPT to say that, okay, I answer the question right in 1 or 2 words. Therefore, the answer is Lawrence Wong. Like this is the answer. But for some use cases, right, I think for the other on the second level use of Gen AI applications, sometimes like when I want to ask a question, right, that is domain specific. For example, like what is like the what was the best way to find the best house in Singapore, for example, right? You are not talking to like someone with a knowledge of like, let's say, how to find better housing in the USA or in the UK or maybe like in other places, right? You want to have a very specific context that what I'm looking for is like actually Singapore context. That's why like for some people, right, they want the GPT, right, or the brain to run on top of your own knowledge base. Like it can be a list of PDF, it can be like list of blogs or text that you have accumulated, so that when they answer a question, they actually extract the data from your own like document. So this is what we call like retrieval. And once you learn like the basic concept, we hope you can actually explore like how do we actually run LLM or GPT on top of your own document, because this is very powerful. Like lots of our clients require these capabilities. So before we move on further to explore like what can we do, what kind of apps can we build to help teachers or educators, right? Let me introduce our alumni as well, Wei Ching and Gita, which in which like they actually develop an assistant chatbot to help teachers generate lesson plan. And why we believe that like this app actually can be useful to make education fun and learning fun and effective, because as we know, even after talking to lots of teachers, like the biggest challenge for teachers to conduct fruitful lesson, right, is actually like the fatigue they have like when they want to, or the fatigue they have initially to do administrative work. So what Team Environment has done is actually to develop a chatbot that can allows you to create a personalized lesson plan depending on your specific, so that teachers, educators can actually save time preparing the learning materials, and spend more time and spend more of their energy, right, focusing on making their lessons more engaging. So without further ado, Wei Ching, Gita, we're very happy to have you here, and feel free to share like your chatbot right now to everyone here. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I hope everybody can hear me clearly, and I'm going to share the screen. So what we are going to do is what we like to do is I to give you a little bit of background so that you know why we create this chatbot. So like so I'm Wei Ching, and together with me is Kita. So both of us from the related to the polytechnic educational arena, and together we also have another 3 members are not here today. So including Sharon, Vivian, and Junyi. So some of them are actually teachers in a secondary school. So the idea of having a group of people is like, this is not just about like we need to have a group of people to work together. So one of them are maybe very good in doing the coding, and another one will contribute on all the pedagogy, and another one will be the content experts so that we know that the content that we develop or generate by the generative AI is correct and useful for the lecture for the people who are using it. Okay, so the idea of it is like, I think many of us are believe that sustainability is very important. So like Singapore have the Singapore Green Plan, and all the education institute are committed. They want to do it. They want to integrate, they want to introduce sustainability in today education so that in the future we could have sustainable development. But the question now is like, how can we help the educator when, if you are educator yourself, you know that when the teacher and educator are so overwhelmed and have a very busy timetable already. So that is the idea why we want to create this chatbot. So the solution is like, hey, if the teachers want to create a lesson plan, right? Can it be just very easy, one click away kind of approach? So for that, we are going to design the chatbot that can answer the lecturer needs. So I want to look at our design. So the design is three things. The first thing is like we already designed the prompt. So the prompt is like about sustainability. How you act as a sustainability expert, and then you do whatever thing you help the educator to create the lesson plan and also the activities. But this is not enough, because the second thing that we want to know, we want to cater for many different users, right? So we will need to allow the chatbot to be customized. Customized in a way that it means that if you're a user, you can decide how long is your lesson plan, who are the students that you cater for, and also you probably are teaching art and I'm teaching science, right? So I want my sustainability lesson plan tied to the subject area that we are teaching. So this is for us, this is a very important features that could serve many different lecturer. So we design the prompts, yet we allow customization. And after that, we also want it to be a one-stop center that you can have the resources yourself. Okay, so right now, let me get out from this and show you the okay. Give me a minute. I'm going to show you let me stop the sharing first and share again, just to make sure that you can see my chatbot. So can you see my chatbot?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good. So chatbot is named Environmize. On the first page, we will have a quick guide to get started, which is a video. And then I'm going to show you about the start planning with the ChatGPT. So after I click on this, and so right now the chatbot is like your advisor. They give you some advice. You don't have to use it wholesale, but it's just an advice. So this is designed for lesson plan and also for activity, if you want it to be an activity. So I will click on this, and I give you some sample idea. It's like, who are the students that we want to design this lesson, and how long, and regarding which topic. So for example, if I'm teaching web design, can I design a lesson plan about sustainability, which also related to web design? So let's see whether we can do this. And I will key in the input, the parameter, the age of the learner, how long is our lesson plan, and what does it regarding to. So right now, you will wait for a while because it's loading. So you will see that as a teacher, just now I just tell them the student and the duration, right? But lesson plan have a lesson plan template. Like you will talk about the lesson objective, and this is a topic within the subject of web design. And how do we use it? Like how do we start our introduction? Talk about sustainable web design minutes, how long, etc., and how the hands-on activity that look like. So these are the idea that we design a lesson plan. But let's say you say, oh yeah, I'm happy with this lesson plan. Usually another things that bother the lecturer or the teacher is like, oh, I need to give them an assessment, right? So if I want to give them an assessment, I will just, okay, create like 5 multiple, give me a minute, it is in Chinese. Okay, so I will say like, oh, give me 5 multiple choice questions with answer. So now it's generate the multiple choice. Yeah, so you can see that, yep, what is the purpose of incorporate this into the web design? So it's to minimize, the answer is to minimize the environmental impact. Yeah, utilize a clean minimalist layout. Yeah, so these are the question generated by the using the ChatGPT in the background. Yeah, so another thing is like, maybe you are not, because we don't want it to be limited to just classroom, right? So we are thinking like, hey, actually I want it to be extra curriculums which is outside of classroom. So I can put it extra curricular. Okay. So by typing these keywords, then the chat will actually give us the idea is related to activities. It's not within the lesson, but it's outside. So so again, the aims, it will generate the aims for you as well, the time, so the project outline. And interestingly, it will also, like, because usually the activity will be outdoor, right? So they will also plan alternative indoor activities. If it happen to be a bad weather, then we can switch it into a different environment and make sure the activity will continue. All right, so these are the idea of it. Of course, if we're done with it, we will always go back. As I say that the third point of our design is, beside you can plan with the ChatGPT, we can also plan with the helpful resources. So we have compiled some resources so to help whoever the educator who are interested in sustainability. Like you can actually link up with the profession that related to sustainability, or you can get some of the lesson plan is already planned out, the guidebook or documentary, like some of the videos that we would like to show the students. And there are some ideas and tips, like how do you like to integrate. So this is like one-stop center for the educator, but we can put everything into a chatbot. Okay, so right now I would like to invite Gita to continue. Gita, do you want to continue present the...
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you, Yixing, for the sharing. So now I'll be talking more about like the user feedback. So user feedback and user testing is very important, whether you develop a chatbot, a website, or whatever product. So we had a beta testing first before our final submission, because even though we have teachers and like tech developers in our team, we need to like test it out with the actual user, like other educators, and there are different educators, like of different age groups or different subjects. So we sent out our chatbot link to them and we did a beta testing. So for the beta testing, these are some of the feedbacks from them. So the things that we did well according to them is that it's user-friendly, it provided relevant answers, and it contained interesting information. And there were also some feedback from them saying like, oh, maybe you can include more features, maybe have a guide on how to use the chatbot, because maybe some teachers might need more help in navigating the chatbot. And also some of the answers from the ChatGPT, it might not be what they wanted. So we can encourage them to like contextualize further according to their needs, and also provide more resources, because sustainability is a like big topic. There's a lot of subtopics in sustainability. So just want to add on, like our chatbot currently we are narrowing it down to Singapore. So most of the sustainability like resources that we have included are like from Singapore. We'll be planning to include more coming up in the future as well. Yeah. Yeah, next slide. Yeah. So after that beta testing, we reviewed the feedback from them and we edited our chatbot again before we submitted for the final submission. So now what are the things that we have done well is that the lesson plan was detailed, and we also formatted it better compared to our previous version so that it's easy to look at the lesson plan. And yeah, and since we have a step-by-step guide and a video with subtitles and transcript, it was more user-friendly for them. And the areas for improvement for this was that sometimes it might take a while for the GPT to respond. So some of the users were not sure whether it hanged or like there's no answers from the GPT. So they suggested maybe we can have an indicator for the loading process. And some of the users also said it might be useful if they can save the history of the chat. Like maybe they use a GPT like at 2 p.m. and they want to continue like around 4 p.m. It's better if they can log in to the GPT and also able to save the chat history. And another feedback was about the responsiveness of the chatbot, which we are still working on it. Like on the mobile, it might be more neater compared to the desktop and compared to the monitor. So we are still looking into how we can make sure that the chatbot is responding in the same frame as in all the devices. Yeah, browser compatible also. Yeah. So one of the main thing in developing this chatbot was designing the prompts. So we had 3 different prompts. So lesson plan, assessment plan, and extracurricular activities. So yeah, for extracurricular activities, like though it will suggest what activity the students can do, we also wanted to make sure there's a wet weather plan, because that is also important while designing this extracurricular curricular activity plan. And for the assessment, we also made sure to like put it in point form with the answer. So all of this, as you can see in the prompts, we have mentioned it in detail that, oh, you must please take a deep breath before responding to this, and include line breaks for every paragraph. So this took a lot of time to test. So we tried to test out different prompts and see which one gave more accurate responses. So you could experiment the prompt writing. Yeah. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah. So that that's about it. Do you have any questions? Please feel free to ask.
Okay. Thank you, Gita, and Wei Qing. I think for others, like this is like I think this chatbot can be considered as more like an assistant. So where I mean, instead of like spending time like creating the curriculum, you can get a custom basically building materials like in an instance like that. And basically, I think for me, I think like just to share, like maybe you can share also like from based on your experience like building this chatbot, right? Like what do you think is the most important like component or most important factor that actually determines the quality of this chatbot? Is it the prompt, or is it like the user interface, like from the when you upload it to teach, when you give it to teachers, right? What is the most important component of this chatbot that makes it like useful for them?
I think the most important thing is like it allowed the lecturer, the teacher to customize to their needs. So in order to do that, our prompt have to be to consider many things, like to get the parameter from the user, and after that able to respond accordingly to the parameter. Parameter means like the age of the learner, what of the pedagogy approach I like to include. For example, some teachers like to have group work, so we need the prompt to understand they need to respond to the user inputs about this is about group work, this is about what topic that I want. So only with that, the lesson plan will be meaningful to the user.
Okay. There's one, I think, very good question from Sao Ching. Why is there a need for a chatbot when we can use ChatGPT? Or what do you think, Wei Ching? Like based on your experience building the prompt, like testing it, why should people actually like use your chatbot instead of asking the GPT directly?
To me, it's like for those who are familiar on some of the design principle of using prompts, like you have to set the persona, you have to tell them what to do, what sort of things that you are expecting. Like, for example, you want the lesson plan to come out with a learning objective. You want the lesson plan can be continue to develop assessment plan. You even want the assessment plan come up with rubrics, with answer. So if you are very good in prompts, you probably do not need the chatbot. Yeah, but when we designed this chatbot, we were thinking like some of the teachers, they are not so skillful on using the prompt. So hopefully this chatbot provide another alternative. It's like, hey, I don't need to worry about the prompt. I just need to tell you my students the topic that I want and how long that this lesson is going to be. So I just need to key in the parameter.
Yeah, I think exactly what Wei Jing mentioned, Sao Ching. I think that's actually just scratching the surface, right? Because only a handful of us, to be honest, know how to prompt. Even me, I myself, like, despite like using like GPT for a long time, to get to develop the right prompt is actually, it takes a while. And sometimes when we know how to build it, it's actually very long. So you don't want to copy paste like the prompt like each time. And I think what the team environment has done is they've done a lot of work actually, like not just like writing the prompt, designing the prompt, testing the prompt and all that, right? So the benefit of what team environment has created to other teachers are enormous, because it allows like teachers who are not so good in writing prompt actually to get like insight that are locally like that's within like local context, and it's been tested actually like relevant among the teachers as well. So yeah, and how long did it take you to create this chatbot? Gita, maybe Gita, you can answer that.
I think it would took about 1 to 2 months. Yeah, like Christian and Arnold, they had a like plan, like so each week what will we be focusing on. So we just followed the plan, and yeah, I think it took about 1 to 2 months. Yeah, but we are still continuing to improve the chatbot based on the feedback we have received. Yeah.
Yeah. The lesson itself was like 3 meetings, right? We have 3 Saturdays. And I remember basically like we discussed a lot, and yeah, I mean kudos to team environments who develop the chatbots and design the prompt and test it to the teachers as well, because the testing part is very important. Yeah. Okay, I think just for the interest of time, maybe I'll because we still have like some materials to cover. So maybe let's like give a round of applause to team environments for sharing their chatbots. Yeah, maybe if you guys can clap, you guys can use like the clap emoji. Thank you so much, and team environments. We'll keep the Q&A for later. Oh yeah, if you want to scan the chatbot, you can just like scan it here, or I can just also copy paste the chatbot link again after this. Yeah, thanks so much, Jeremy. But if you have any question, like Gita and Wei Ching is here, you feel free to add your LinkedIn as well if in case they would like to contact you directly after this. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Wei Ching, Gita.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me share my, yeah, Gita just shared the chatbot. This is the correct one without the chatbot 2. Sorry, some of the confusion. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think what we've seen is that one of the use cases that people can actually build on top of GPT, right? And for others as well, like for other students, like I think there are also like several use cases. I will share the link like here. Let me just like share it on the group chat. They are I think one of them is actually like to apply GPT to generate lesson, right? So that teachers can save time and focus more on delivering the lesson learned. But the other one is actually like a role play chatbot, right? Like this is also developed by our student from Indonesia, and what he wants to have is that after I learn English, I can actually like take home and have an English tutor that can help me practice my English grammar. So this is also like another way of applying GPT to basically create a role play or a companion, right, that can help you like practice your English. So the link is there. You can also like explore it after that because we don't have enough time. The other one is more like an advisory, right, where sometimes like for some students they like to get more bite-sized information, and instead of like getting some kind of long-winded answer. So another NLB members actually developed a career advisor chatbot. It's actually for education, but it's more towards like packaging it into an advisory style to help like job seekers like identify and explore career opportunities. So there are like various ways of applying basically generative AI in education sectors, and it can take like many shapes and form. And once you start building app, I think you can also add more, right? Like add more local documents as a context, make it more multimodal, like using voice, using images, using for example, like avatar as well. I think there are a lot of actually potentials where you can actually like develop. And yeah, like so how we typically like find out use cases, I think we try to split it into like 3 parts. Most of GPT use actually for ideation, content generation, and automation. So curriculum development is something that you see. Research assistant, I think there's also like use cases that allows like educators to identify research materials and relevant researchers. Problem solving, fact checking as well. Some of our users actually develop a fact check chatbot to kind of check the education materials. on the automation side, I think role play is something that is getting a lot of popularity because lots of teachers want their students to actually keep on learning at home, but the teachers are not available 24/7, right? So where should they practice? How should they practice? Who will grade them when they practice, right? So these are like use cases where you can actually expand. And some of the templates are available on our materials as well. So we'll unpack further and how you can access that. As Wei Qing and Gita has mentioned, like good prompt matters. So I think if for those of you teachers and educators or anyone who wants to start learning, right? Actually at this time, like the easiest way to improve your Gen AI, right? Or the quality of your generative AI is actually like to design good prompts. And what it means is that they are, I mean, GPT is very smart, but they are not, you need to talk to them as if like, they are a machine, so to say. They are still, in fact, an AI or a machine, right? So there is basically like, a certain rules on how you can break that down. I think Wei Ching previously mentioned about defining the role, like who are you? Like who is the ChatGPT? Who should they act? And the second one is define the main task. Like if you take a look at their prompt, like sometimes you can also see that like this is the list of tasks that you have to do. And there are certain kind of like, format as well. Like don't put too long. I mean, don't put like, keep your response like below like 250 words or something like that. So defining the main task is actually very important as well. And define the rule. Like rule is also like some kind of criteria that you want to input on the GPT. I think right now with GPT-4, they are much better in memorizing like arithmetic. So let's say if you are a teacher, you want to create a role play, you can actually add on like point system as well. And define the text format. Like you can also like cast. So okay, so what team environments actually do is actually to pass on some of the user input, such as like, oh, you have create a sustainability learning materials like for 2 hours lesson and all that stuff, pass it into the prompt. And then like, for example, like if I want to create like sustainability curriculum that is related to web development, so that input is actually passed into the prompt so that the output of the ChatGPT is customized. So this is something that, I mean, you can also have in your ChatGPT app. And then like you can actually pass the prompts, like the user input into the prompt so that the answer can be personalized to your audience, basically. And how we typically structure the learning is that we typically teach our members, right, to start from learning how to write good prompts. Because like whether you are using like you are building apps or you are using ChatGPT website, prompting actually matters a lot, as you've seen like in the previous like page. The second one is I think one thing that lots of people like want to explore is that how can I build something that other people can use? So this is where we also like start teaching them a basic, like basic Gen AI app generation, but not starting from scratch, but we design a template. You can edit the prompt and you can also edit the user journey as well. Because like what team environment has mentioned, simplicity really matters. Like, and in this case, like they're creating like a user journey of conversation flow that is simple for teachers to apply. But beyond that, let's say if you want to take it learning a little bit step further, to let's say applying it into your companies, or even if you want to start a business in Gen AI, right? I think these are like the levels that you want to explore. Like the third one is like how to integrate Gen AI into my existing workflow. ChatGPT cannot respond to my email, and ChatGPT cannot summarize my text if it's not connected to, let's say, to my document, right? So this is also like another interesting more advanced learning that we typically like teach to our students, like how can you assemble your brain so that it creates some kind of like automation workflow for your work. Level 4 is Gen AI on database. I think once you know how to integrate existing workflow, it's time for us to learn like how can I learn integrate LLM to my database, for example? Because like for example, like if you are a lawyer, for example, I want the GPT to follow like Singapore law or a specific clause of maybe like a certain industry. And I don't want them to kind of answer it based on like internet data. I want to have a very specific local context. So Gen AI on database is going to be big. And this is also like most of our requirements actually come from how can you integrate LLM to my local database so that I can talk to my PDF, I can talk to my I can search data easily. The fifth one is like local LLMs, because like how can I deploy and run local LLM to ensure like 100% privacy? And the sixth one, once you have that, you can actually create a ChatGPT that actually automate end-to-end human workflow. Can we make it better or perform similarly like than human? There are a lot of complexity there, but there are some techniques that you can learn to actually like create an AI agent. So yeah, so if you want to start, I think what we do in LC community is that we have a community on Telegram. We do have a learning platform that we provide for you guys for free. And the third one is that we also have access to a little bit more structured, like a learning path that you can actually tap on as well. So like for those of you who just join, you can scan below or register to our Chatbot LearnX community. Even you can just, after you register, there should be an email which actually gives you instruction on how to start. And once you have started, right, don't worry. I think after this, we'll actually share this slide, so you don't have to, take note because we will send the slides to you guys after this. But afterwards, right, there are some content that you can also learn at your own. So what we have prepared a chatbot that helps you learn AI and chatbot as well. And basically, like it shouldn't take 5 hours to learn from start to finish. And we have some templates as well, so that you don't have to recreate the code from scratch. And I think also we like to really thank Team Environment as well, because they've actually like they've been kindly like enough to actually share the code to you guys. So let's say if there are some of you who wants to expand the use cases of Team Environments or reuse the framework that they've built to teach other curriculum, you can actually like go to the website. We are using Smojo.AI because it's the tool that we develop ourselves. And there are lots of templates that actually like they are developed by our past students that you can use. So Gita, Wei-Ching, and environment team has been actually sharing the chatbot. But to use this template, I think we really recommend you to complete the self-paced learning assistant, the learning module first. Yeah. So for just a little bit of admin detail as well, we also have shared GPT resources if you want to build your own like chatbot. Basically, it's our own resources. Like we get some GPT API from Microsoft Azure, and we are going to share it to you guys. So feel free to follow this instruction if you want to use our own our GPT resources as well. But keep in mind, it's actually we are using 3.5 turbo. It's good enough. I think it allows you to practice lots of things. But of course, like because it's actually being shared to hundreds of people, so we don't want to have a too much expensive build on our end. So we are using like the cheaper and faster 3.5. But in case if you want to explore like more advanced like GPT models, we also have a way for you to kind of like use like OpenAI API keys. They have, as far as I understand, they have a lot more models to explore. In the latest one, the 4.0 GPT 4.0, right? It actually has like image processing capabilities as well. So let's say if you have a math question and you want to solve it, you can take a picture and then like get the GPT to actually solve the question. Yeah. Or even you can also use a prompt to so that like the answer, right, is actually following like Singapore standard. It's not just like give you an answer, but it follows a Singapore standard, like way of solving arithmetic question as well. But you need to get to your own chatbot. But don't worry, I think so far it's been like very affordable. so far, like for my own project as well, like I only spend like $4 per month for like to experiment with GPT 4.0. So 4.0, yeah. So don't worry, I think it's very cheap. You can get it on your own and it doesn't cost much.
So Christian, I thought it might be a good time to jump in, since I see some questions in the chat that's related to this costing thing also lah. So I think maybe your first question is around, actually the question came up around the previous slide,
Yeah.
previous slides lah. So are there any cost fees, I guess, for using Smojo itself?
No.
Or where the fees come in?
Yeah, the Smojo is free. Like this is like what we basically like. This is part of like commitment for you guys as well. So like to use Smojo is free, but if you want to use like our own API that we have, it's also free as well. But if you want to use like your you get access to more models, I think OpenAI actually like provide the API access at cost. It's very cheap though, but you need to procure from them as well. But it's very easy to sign up. So yeah, you can use our own API that we provided, that we subsidize, or you can use like GPT API from OpenAI page. The instruction is there, so like you can copy paste and then like follow the instructions. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. So there's that free portion, and then if you want additional features, then you can pay a little bit lah, but it's to OpenAI.
Yeah, it's not for us. It's for OpenAI. Like for us, like we don't charge anything for the access. Yeah.
So there's one I guess kind of related question about logging into the platform lah, whether SingPass is needed. So I think you can clarify on that.
No, we don't collect SingPass or anything. So like there is step-by-step instructions if you actually like followed like Smallbot, right? Here we also like give you a sign up instruction as well, where you can actually key in your details. You key in your details, and then we will basically like you get the access to sign up the account as well. We don't collect any SingPass data or anything else.
Yes, so not to worry, Panji panic. Okay. I see Gita has replied on the comments about whether coding is needed to develop these tools. Yeah, so great reply, Gita.
Yeah, there is coding involved. Like we are using text-based interface because ultimately we want you guys to actually like make something that is quite powerful, and a lot of block-based I think is not flexible enough to achieve that. But don't worry, like we have templates, so you don't have to start by editing everything. You don't have to start from scratch. So everything is there, and you just like change a little bit. Like so you can change the prompt, you can change the copywriting, you can change the text. Just do it bit by bit. Then like once you are more comfortable, you can change the flow a little bit more. So the focus is not so much on the coding, but it's more towards like applying the concept and learning how to prompt.
But you don't need to know coding beforehand lah. You can kind of learn it as you go along.
Yes. You need to code, but you don't need programming experience.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So everything is actually like available at for you guys. Like and you can actually like if you want to start learning, you can also start learning at your own pace. But just in case, right, you need more basically support, right? Like we live like outside NLB actually. We do have organized like a monthly quick bootcamp as well, where you can actually like teach you like step by step through a live class, technical class lah. It's not mandatory. I think if you guys like wants to learn it bit by bit, I think Smallbot is good enough. But for some of you who are more like into like who requires like more technical guidance or live classes, like we do organize it on a monthly basis lah. Yeah, but I think it's optional for you guys. But if you want to join, you can just scan the QR code right now. It's going to happen 13 or 14 of August, and hopefully, right, like what our goal is that regardless you want to join our live classes or if you want to just learn at your own pace, hopefully by August, all of you are able to create your own like basic prompt engineering, because what happened is that in July we are going to a little bit deeper into creating like more like multimodal Gen AI. So this is more towards like how to create like multimodal AI assistant. Basically, you can input voice or image, or even like image. I think is yeah, still checking like how reliable it is. But at least like you can actually like interact with voice, and we are using not just like a web app, but you're also using like more like chat system like Telegram. This is a little bit more technical, but I think there are a lot of value you can gain from that, because we are moving into like how to automate basically like manual systems, right? And how to enrich your GPT, right? So that it can do much more than what web or ChatGPT web can do. So I know you want to mention a little bit more on this part. I know you are here, right? Yeah, my colleague Arnold is here as well. So you want to mention a little bit more about July webinar that we have with NLB?
Okay, I just co-host. So Arnold, you should be able to unmute now.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as Chris says, multimodal AI, we're doing a lot of stuff on that. You'll be able to like incorporate things like, you know, image processing, voice as well, voice to text, text to voice, and so on, right? And on the next seminar, we're still looking at Telegram bots. So we'll show you how to do Telegram bots, you know, because right now all your chat bots and all the programs run within the web browser, but it's also possible to move it into Telegram. And not just that, we'll also have two different presentations on the July seminar. I will be presenting on Telegram bots and how to create them. And one of our students, his name is Francis, he'll be doing a YouTube summarizer. Okay, so YouTube summarizer is using the RAG technique that Chris sort of like briefly outlined at the start of his slides, right? So you'll be looking at both these things. They're very interesting. And, you know, I highly encourage you if you're interested in AI and how to apply it, come for this on the 29th of July, because we'll be talking about two very different projects, but, you know, to do with AI and interesting as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Arnold. So I think just to summarize as well, what we want to do is that we want to up level the community a bit, so that like, you know, instead of like building like the ChatGPT powered like applications on web browser, we want to actually like enable more like integration and multimodality on the chatbot itself. So coming back, hopefully before July, right? I highly recommend you to actually like, you know, start exploring on self-paced learning assistant on our materials as well. And so that by July when you come in as well, we can actually like, you know, there are a lot of interesting things that we can do together in the webinar. We will release each time like, you know, we have a presentation, we will also release a template where you guys can basically edit and modify. So that will be much more interesting, but of course, like hopefully by then you have some kind of fundamental concepts on how GPT works, how the GPT API works, how do you integrate like, you know, GPT into your workflow, so that you can we can have more productive session like down the line. Okay, I think that's all from my end. Yeah.
Yeah, so to clarify, this session will actually be on 28 July, 2 to 4 p.m. Yeah,
oh, so, yeah, my bad. Sorry, it's 28th of July. My mistake. Let me just edit this as well. Sorry, Jeremy. Thanks for pointing it out.
So I will provide the link to register for that into the chat box as well. So I'm noting that for some of you, clicking the links might not be working. So what you can do is actually just copy and paste into any web browser also lah. That will work as well. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, Christian.
No worries. Let me just share my screen again. So it's 28th of July, 2 to 4 p.m. So it's 2 hours, not 1 hour, because there are much more to cover, and we want to go a little bit more deeper for the next session. So I think for us as well, like we we have lots of things going on right now, and with NLB, I think it's not just like a webinar that we have. We will have much more updates with regards to the templates, learning materials, and everything else. So we do, if you want to get updated, let's say on our email list as well, you can also like scan the QR code below, or you can also like join NLB LC community. By then, like we can, we will actually update you like near to the date when it comes to like live classes, when it comes to new templates for you to modify, and more like learning materials as well. So yeah, stay updated. There are much more things that we would like to cover like during this webinar, but we don't have enough time. So yeah, and if you want to talk to our community members as well, like the Telegram group is also there as well. So you can just like join in, because now there are too many things to look through, right? So hopefully you can either like join LC community, or you can also like scan this QR code to sign up to get more updates from us directly. Yeah. Okay, with that, I think our session is end today.
Actually, on my end,
yeah.
maybe I can proceed to